Travis Kelce strode into the Arrowhead Stadium locker room with the kind of swagger that only comes from years of high-stakes football and living in the spotlight, the air in the corridor charged with a tension that could be mistaken for electricity. It was more than just another Sunday game. It was a clash that would decide not only the Chiefs' path in the standings, but perhaps the emotional momentum for the rest of their season. Outside, the sound of tens of thousands of fans rolling into the stadium was like the ocean at high tide. A living, breathing force that seemed to seep through the concrete and steel, making the very walls hum. Kelce's entrance, flanked by his teammates, was less a walk and more a statement. He was the focal point, the gravitational pull that drew sidelong glances and surreptitious nods of respect, not just because of his stats or his highlight reels, but because he seemed to carry the storm inside him, calm and wild all at once. There was a flicker of a grin as he acknowledged a passing equipment manager, a half-second of warmth that belied the storm brewing behind his eyes. The locker room itself was a world apart, a sanctuary of ritual and routine where the rest of the universe faded to the background. Gear bags thudded onto benches, tape unspooled in swift, practiced hands, the subtle symphony of preparation playing out in every corner. Patrick Mahomes entered behind Kelce, the two exchanging a look that spoke of shared battle scars and unspoken challenges. Mahomes, always the tactician, was already scanning the playbook, his lips moving slightly as he ran through scenarios, countermoves, and audibles. Chris Jones, a wall of muscle and resolve, slid into his locker with the silent grace of a heavyweight who knows how to make his presence felt without a word. Isaiah Pacheco, energy personified, bounced in with a grin, his confidence infectious. Even across the room, you could sense the bond between them all, forged in the crucible of last-minute comebacks and bitter defeats. The tension was not just nervousness, it was anticipation, potential energy wound tight, waiting for release. Beyond the sanctuary of the locker room, the stadium was swelling with anticipation. The fans wore their colors like armor, faces painted red and gold, voices rising in ritual chants that seemed to shake the foundation. They did not see the small moments inside, the rookie tying and readying his cleats, the veteran center rubbing his hands together as if summoning memories of past glories, the quiet conversations between position coaches and players that would determine the fate of entire drives. Travis Kelce turned to the mirror, shoulder pads already strapped on, jersey draped but not yet tucked. The light above revealed the lines of concentration on his face, the fleeting uncertainty that every great competitor feels before the opening whistle. He flexed his hands, feeling the grip of the gloves, every movement purposeful. Pacheco slapped him on the back, the sound echoing in the space. "Today's our day, Mr. 87, he said, his voice both a promise and a challenge. Kelce's response was a low chuckle, the kind that comes from knowing exactly what it takes to win, and what it costs. Every game's our day. Let's see if the Colts can keep up. They laughed together, the sound sharp and raw, cutting through the tension in the room. In that instant, the nerves of the rookies settled, the veterans found their rhythm, and the Chiefs became more than a collection of athletes. They became a single, breathing organism, united by purpose and possibility. Coach Andy Reid entered with the tactical board, his presence commanding but never domineering. He didn't need to shout. His words, measured and precise, carried the weight of experience and trust. The team gathered, forming a tight circle, eyes locked on the board, minds already racing through routes and options. The Colts would be tough, their defense notoriously unyielding, but the Chiefs had seen tough before. The game plan was simple, but the execution would require every ounce of focus, every bit of improvisational genius that made Mahomes and Kelce the most dangerous duo in the league. The speech was short, the message clear. Play your game, trust your brothers, leave everything on the field. As they broke the huddle, the energy was palpable, a living force that seemed to crackle in the air. Outside, the fans were a tide waiting to be unleashed, their hopes and dreams riding on every snap, every catch, every sprint down the sideline. The Chiefs took the field to a roar that was almost physical, a wall of sound that pressed in from every direction. Kelce glanced at Mahomes, a silent conversation passing between them. They had been here before, backs against the wall, critics circling like vultures, and every time they had found a way to rise. The opening drive was a study in controlled chaos. The Colts' defense came out swinging, their linebackers crashing gaps, their corners pressing at the line. Mahomes danced in the pocket, eyes scanning, arm cocked. On 3rd and long, the play broke down, and Mahomes scrambled, buying time. Kelce, reading the defense in real time, adjusted his route, finding the seam. The ball was there before the safety could react, a laser that hit Kelce in stride. He spun out of a tackle, lunging for extra yards, the crowd erupting as he was finally dragged down. It was more than a first down, it was a declaration. The Chiefs would not be bullied. The drive stalled short of the end zone, but the field goal was good, and the sideline buzzed with determination instead of doubt. The defense took the field, Chris Jones leading the charge, his voice booming as he rallied the linemen. The Colts found little room to maneuver. Each snap a struggle as the Chiefs' front seven pressed the attack, collapsing pockets and stuffing runs. Every play became a little war, each side probing, feinting, looking for the slightest weakness. The game unfolded as a chess match, each possession a test of will and adaptation. The Chiefs' offense found rhythm in the second quarter, mixing short passes with hard-nosed runs by Pacheco, wearing down the Colts' defenders. Mahomes found Kelce again, this time in the red zone, threading a pass through a window that seemed impossibly small. Touchdown! The stadium exploded, the noise rattling ribs and raising goosebumps. Kelce's celebration was restrained, a single fist pump, the fire in his eyes saying more than any dance could. But the Colts would not go quietly. Their quarterback engineered a methodical drive, exploiting tiny gaps in the Chiefs' zone, and soon the lead was cut. The tension ratcheted up with every possession, each mistake magnified, every inch contested. The halftime locker room was a cauldron of sweat and hope. Players caught their breath, coaches adjusted schemes, and Kelce's voice rose above the din, urging his teammates to dig deeper, to remember why they played this game. The second half was a blur of motion and noise, the kind of football that leaves fans breathless. Mahomes unleashed a deep strike to a rookie receiver, the ball arcing perfectly, only for the defender to make a leaping deflection at the last second. Pacheco broke free on a run, weaving through traffic before being tripped up just shy of the goal line. Every play was a story, every moment a turning point. With the game tied in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs faced a critical 3rd down. The tension was suffocating, the entire stadium holding its breath. Mahomes took the snap, pressure collapsing around him, and fired a bullet over the middle. Kelce, bracketed by 2 defenders, leaped, twisting his body in midair, hand snatching the ball from the sky. He came down hard, the wind knocked out of him, but he held on. First down. The crowd went wild, the Chiefs' sideline erupting in joy. The next play, a quick screen to Pacheco, caught the defense off guard, and he sprinted for the go-ahead touchdown. The final minutes were a frenzy, the Colts pressing for a comeback, every snap a battle. But the Chiefs' defense held firm, Jones crashing through the line to disrupt the quarterback, the secondary blanketing receivers. The clock ticked down, the tension breaking only with the final whistle. Victory. Players hugged, helmets tossed in the air, the noise from the crowd washing over them in waves. Kelce found Mahomes, the two embracing, grins wide and eyes bright with the knowledge that they had faced the storm and emerged stronger. In the aftermath, as reporters filed in and cameras flashed, Kelce's thoughts lingered on the battle just fought. Every game was more than just a contest. It was a test of character, of brotherhood, of resilience in the face of adversity. The locker room was a mosaic of emotion, players laughing, crying, silent in reflection. Outside, the fans continued to cheer, their voices echoing into the night, a reminder that football was more than just a game. It was a story, a drama, a living testament to the power of belief and the thrill of the unknown. And as Kelce looked around at his teammates, he knew the story was far from over. There would be more battles, more moments of doubt and triumph. But tonight, at Arrowhead, they had written another unforgettable chapter, the kind that would be told and retold as long as the game endured.